ترتاح القلوب وتنزاح المتاعب والكروب وتنزل رحمة الغفار غيثا به تمحى المعاصي والذنوب.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد. Across the world, most evil occurs because of a drop of a thought from Shaytan to a human being. If you look at the killings and the fights and the arguments and the anger that occurs across the globe, it is only and only because of Shaytan. And a lot of times, it can have a reason and without a reason. So the tricks of Shaytan are some of the strongest things, some of the things that happen across the world today is because of the tricks and tactics of Shaytan. And a lot of these tactics, if we don't understand them, and if we don't know supplications that we can use, we will never be able to protect ourselves from the evils and the tricks of Shaytan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had mentioned in Surah 16, ayah 98, So when you recite the Quran, first seek refuge in Allah from the expelled Shaytan, from the mercy of Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in Surah Al-Araf, Surah 7, Ayah 200, if an evil suggestion or an evil thought comes to your head, seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Shaytan. Whenever Shaytan whispers something bad to you, seek refuge in Allah from him. Whenever something pops in your head and is somewhat evil and is somewhat bad, seek refuge in Allah from Shaytan by saying A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaytan Rajim. Now, what are the benefits of seeking refuge in Allah from Shaytan? One of the benefits is that your memory becomes stronger, that you get energy, that the fearful things that were in your head will go away, the bad thoughts will go down. Also, when one is angry, they should seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Shaytan, because his mission is to put you through trouble after trouble, to put you in a bad situation, to make things beautiful to you. Now, my goal here today is to mention something that will be of a huge benefit to everyone sitting here and to everyone who will hear this message after this khutbah or sometime after. Now, the word, when you say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaytan Rajim, it means I seek protection in Allah from the accursed Shaytan or Satan. The word Allah means to turn for protection, to say I am in danger, help. You're asking Allah for protection and to protect you from the dangers of Shaytan and his tricks and from his tactics. You seek refuge in Allah. You turn to Allah for help. You're turning to Allah who is all powerful. And you admit that you need protection and that you need Allah to protect you from the dangers of Shaytan, from his tricks and from his tactics. You seek refuge in Allah. You turn to Allah for help, because you're admitting that all help comes from the most powerful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And part of this is understanding Tawheed and having some type of aqidah in your system to admit that without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no other help. You're basically saying, Ya Allah, I seek your help from Shaytan. Shaytan is the being that is removed from the mercy of Allah. And that is what Shaytan means. He's removed, far removed from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Shaytan is far removed from righteousness, from piety, from every good that can come from guidance. He's far removed from that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has removed him away from that. Now, what are some things that Shaytan uses to trick the human beings? One of the tactics that he uses is to promise the human being they will live longer. That's partly why people take drugs, partly why people inject themselves with needles, partly why people take so many medications, partly why people want to exercise, although there's nothing wrong with exercising. So all this is the tricks of Shaytan, to promise you that you will live longer. And what did he do to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, the first human being, the first messenger, created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He told him, eat from that tree and you will live longer. And he kept on dropping thoughts after thoughts. And he said, eventually walked to the tree while forgetting. And one of the tricks of Shaytan is to make you forget. The tricks of Shaytan is to make you forget for an appointment, for something important that you should have went to. And then sometimes he wants you even to break promises. Because all his actions and tactics are to ultimately put you in the hellfire on the Day of Judgment. And on the Day of Judgment he will say, I didn't force you to do it. I just suggested and you took it. And he will give a khutbah on the Day of Judgment, explaining his mission. Now, the first benefit, there are 20 benefits I'll mention here today, and benefits, 20 benefits and reasons why you should seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Shaytan. The first reason is when we begin the Quran, we purify our intention. It helps us to pure our intention so that you read the Quran with pure intention instead of showing off. Number two, the second benefit is you don't want Shaytan to corrupt you of your understanding of the Quran. A lot of times, when people are reading the Quran, they're either using the English translation or they know Arabic. So, before you recite the Quran, seek refuge in Allah from Shaytan. And I've mentioned the verse before I started this khutbah. You don't want Shaytan to corrupt your understanding of the Quran, because that is his main aim. Anything to do with misguidance, that's his mission. The third benefit, we seek refuge in Allah from Shaytan to say, Oh Allah, I am weak, so I turn to you for help. Because no harm can come to you, except if Allah wills it to happen to you. Number four, when we start the Quran, we start with seeking refuge in Allah from Shaytan. That is an indicator that the speech of man or woman is coming to an end. So as soon as you're about to start the Quran, if you start off with A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, that means your speech is coming to an end. Now you're entering the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number five, since Shaitan promised to mislead everyone, you don't want him to mislead you. So you seek protection from his tactics, from his tricks, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaitan will not get paradise on the Day of Judgment, but he wants to bring and pile up many people with him to the hellfire. We seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan because he causes us to forget. Immediately when you say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, your memory becomes stronger. Number 7. And also, before I move to number 7, Shaitan's mission is to make you forget important stuff. Things that are important, mandatory things. That's his mission, to make you forget, to make you late. Number 7, doing things quick and rushing. Hastiness comes from Shaitan. Doing things quick and fast comes from Shaitan. Is one of the traps of Shaitan. To put you in a position where you're rushing yourself. A lot of times you see someone, they'll order coffee and they're rushing, they'll spill it on themselves. Or they'll spill it on the floor and somebody will trip and fall. So that is some of the tricks. Number 7 is doing things quick and rushing, as I mentioned. Number 8, you seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan because his tactics and his tricks make you feel lazy. So anytime you feel lazy, if you say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, you get energy. You become energetic. And a lot of times, one of the tricks that Shaitan uses to make people feel lazy is to make them fall asleep. And I've mentioned this before and I'll say it again. If anybody wants to take a nap, it should be from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock. That's the best time to take a nap. And within that time, it should only be for an hour. If it becomes more than an hour, the brain will register as if you're sleeping at night. And so if you wake up 3 hours later, you'll feel lazy, you'll feel tired, you don't feel good about it. So a nap should be 1 hour, 30 minutes. It depends on how tired you are. If you're really tired, 1 hour should be enough. 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Also, taking a nap increases your memory. And it is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And now the non-Muslims are starting to do it. Number 9. When you seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan, when you get scared, There's two types of being scared. One is natural, one is not natural. The one that is natural, it's okay because that one, to give you an example, is, let's say for example, someone goes far off some other country, let's say Africa, and they come across a lion, or they come across, any type of animal that is scared. For that person to be scared, that's natural. But what is not natural? Shaitan's goal is to put you in a position where you're scared unnaturally. And that is, for example, someone says, I don't want to go to a restaurant. Oh, I'm scared of that person. I don't want to talk to that person. Oh, I don't want to see him. Oh, what? Things like that. Unnecessary stuff. Things that don't even make any sense. And the person says, I don't want to go here because I'm scared. Anytime that happens, seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan. Number 10, when a person gets angry, anger comes from Shaitan. Seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan anytime you get angry. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he came across two men. One man, his veins were popping out, his neck stood up, and he was angry, cursing at the man across him. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came and he said, if this man was to say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim, his anger would go down. And another remedy, if the person gets angry, is to make wudu. If the person has wudu already, to pray 2 rak'ah. And that person should be calm after that. Because why Shaitan wants to make you get angry? Because you will say something that is bad. Something you will curse, you will say a bad word. Just like the story we're mentioning here. You say something bad, you end up punching somebody. Some people, when they get extremely angry, Shaitan takes over their life. So they throw a chair, and later on when they cool down, you show a video to them, you say, look at that video, look what you did. You say, I did that? He can't even believe that he did it. Because Shaitan has took over his life and made him forget many things that he should have prevented. Number 11, delaying things, procrastination. Procrastinating comes from Shaitan. Because when you delay things, for example, a simple example is this. If you get a homework from school and you put in late or you don't do it, what happens? You get a bad grade. And then what happens? If you keep getting bad grade, you drop out. Then what happens, especially if you're in college? If you drop out, then there's no degree and no job. So Shaitan's ultimate goal is for the person to be broke, to live a life that is full of misery. That is his main aim. Main objective of Shaitan is that. Number 12, whispers of Shaitan are real. Any kind of whisper that comes to your head, seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan. A bad thought comes to your head, something inappropriate, something that makes you hate someone or talk about someone. That comes from Shaitan. Anytime you see yourself doing that, seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Shaitan. Number 13, if you started praying your prayer and you said Allahu Akbar, and immediately you cannot focus, you cannot concentrate in your prayer, and all these different thoughts come to your head, immediately, if you're able to get out of the salah and say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, that would help you focus and concentrate in your prayer. So one of the benefits of saying A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim is that your concentration level will go up. Your focus will get better. Your concentration will get better. Number 14. If you go to a new place and you've never been to that place, and maybe that place somewhat looks scary, like a forest or a park or a place to hike, seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan. Because those are places where a lot of times Shaitans hang around that, such as the bathroom and places like that. So seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Shaitan. Number 15. Shaitan's ultimate goal is to put doubts in your head about your religion, about your deen, about your way of life, to second guess things. That is the trap of Shaitan, and it comes from Shaitan. So immediately, if you start to feel doubt, seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan. Also, shirk comes from Shaitan. To associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To stay away from Tawheed. And to not know anything that he will do to prevent you from learning Tawheed, he will do it. Because his mission is, if, let's say, a man has a child, and the man himself survives from the tricks of Shaytan through putting him in shirk, if he survives from shirk, then he will go to the kids. More especially if the father passes away, he will go to the kids. And his main aim is to go after the kids to put them through shirk, doubt, and misguidance. And ultimately, misguidance and all this shirk, anybody who associates violence with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for sure is going to the hellfire. So that's his main aim. Number 16, when you hear the sound of a donkey, braying of a donkey, seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Shaytan. Number 17, we'll come back for this after this half. قولي قولي ذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Number 17. Before you enter the bathroom, enter with the left leg first and say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubuthi wal-khaba'ith. You're seeking refuge from Shaytan. All of these applications are meant to protect you from Shaytan. Number 18. When having intercourse. Number 19. If you see that you are not praying on time and that you see that your ibadah is falling short, seek refuge in Allah from Shaytan. Number 20. And this is the final one. When you commit a sin and you're in the route of committing that sin, seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Shaytan. And also, if the adhan is being made, Shaytan will run away. After the adhan is done, he will come back. So today, if we look at the world, all the murder, all the anger, all the fights that happen across the world, it is caused by Shaytan. And Shaytan's tricks and tactics, they don't come to you all at once. They happen in stages. They happen in times. And he is very patient. And he wants to put you. Now today, the weapons that he uses is social media, where he has misguided many people, where he has put doubts in many of the youth's heads. And this is the trap of Shaytan. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the tricks and the tactics of Shaytan, and always seek refuge in Allah from Shaytan by saying A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim, and also reading all the other supplications. Also reading the Quran is a huge benefit, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you from the Shaytan. Also, Shaytan does not mess with people who are sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So try to be more sincere, work on sincerity, then inshallah ta'ala Shaytan will leave you alone, because people who are sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran, where if someone is sincere, Shaytan will leave them alone. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us all for our sins. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us all to the straight path. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the tricks of Shaytan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us all to the straight path. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us sincere. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us a people who are upon the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is all I'll say, inshallah ta'ala. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وآخر الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
So Lord is showing me. If you have the one, please turn it on. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قاف والقرآن المجيد بل عجبوا أن جاءهم منذر منهم فقال الكافرون هذا شيء عجيب أئذا متنا وكنا ترابا ذلك رجع بعيد قد علمنا ما تنقص الأرض منهم وعندنا كتاب حفيظ بل كذبوا بالحق لما جاءهم فهم في أمر مريج أفلم ينظروا إلى السماء فوقهم كيف بنيناها وزيناها وما لها من فروج والأرض مددناها وألقينا فيها رواسي وأنبتنا فيها من كل زوج بهيج تبصرة وذكرى لكل عبد منيب ونزلنا من السماء ماء مباركا فأنبتنا به جنات وحب الحصيد والنخل باسقات لها طلع نديد رزقا للعباد وأحيينا به بلدة ميتا كذلك الخروج كذبت قبلهم قوم نوح وأصحاب الرس وثمود وعاد وفرعون وإخوان لوط وأصحاب الأيكة وقوم تبع كل كذب الرسل فحق وعيد أفعينا بالخلق الأول بل هم في لبس من خلق جديد الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ولو تقول علينا بعض الأقاويل لأخذنا منه باليمين ثم لقطعنا منه الوتين فما منكم من أحد عنه حاجزين وإنه لتذكرة للمتقين وإنا لنعلم أن منكم مكذبين وإنه لحسرة على الكافرين وإنه لحق اليقين فسبح باسم ربك العظيم.